I call the meeting to order of the Oregon Racing Commission on April 18th, 2024. Okay, the first thing we have is a roll call. Is somebody going to be able to do the roll call?
I will do the roll call.
Thank you.
Commissioner, I'm missing a few. Is Commissioner Berry on?
I am. I apologize for not being there in person. I had some important personal business come up that I had to take care of, but I'm glad I can be here virtually.
And Commissioner Beckstead?
Present.
And Chair Dory here. Commissioner Fowler here. And Commissioner Con.
Here. Okay,
We'll call it taken.
we have a full house today. Okay, the first thing we need to deal with is meeting agendas. Is there any additions to the current agenda?
Yes.
Yes.
We have one item to add, and that is the report from the WSUB.
We have it on the agenda. So put it on.
Oh, never mind.
Yes, so it is there. Okay, so we will continue with the agenda. We need to have a motion to set the agenda.
I second.
Okay, any objection? Okay, almost here.
Aye.
Okay. The meeting agenda is approved. February minutes, we need to vote for on the February, March minutes. For the any, the February minutes you got earlier. So are there any additions to February minutes for the president? Commissioners Beckstead or Berry, any?
Not for me.
Okay. Yeah, like entertain a motion to accept the February minutes as presented.
I make that motion.
Seconded.
Okay, so there's a motion and a second. Any questions on the screen? Okay, if not, all those in favor of approving the February minutes, say aye or raise your hand. Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Approved unanimously. Same thing with March minutes. Are there any corrections or additions to the March minutes? Gentleman has popped up.
I won't go for the minutes.
Second. Okay, it's approved and seconded, that approves the March minutes. Any discussions or questions? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor, please say or raise your hand. Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Okay, so the next thing we have is old business, director's report.
Good afternoon, Chair Doherty, Vice Chair Berry, and esteemed commissioners. I'm Connie Nguyen, honored to serve as the Executive Director of the Oregon Racing Commission. Firstly, I extend a warm welcome to everyone present in our meeting today. It's a pleasure to gather once again in person. Yes. Allow me to introduce two distinguished additions to our staff, and please stand momentarily so they know who you are. First, we have Chris Montesino, and I actually said your name right this time for once. He joined us as our new chief investigator. You can sit down. We can stand. With an impressive background, including 6 years of commendable service in the U.S. Army. I would like to point out, I didn't put this on here, but he is a graduate of the Primary Leadership Development course, which you may not know this, is a grueling course. I know when I went to it, we weren't allowed to sleep for like 5 days, and it's in the rain, and you wouldn't believe how difficult this course was. So I know just from that he's going to be a great addition to our team. He also, we jestingly note that investigator Gentile, Marine Corps veterans, won't hold the fact that Chris was in the Army against him. Following his military service, Chris excelled in roles such as loss prevention officer, firefighter, and most recently as a regulator specialist with the OLCC. Additionally, we welcome Kayla McClure. Today's the first day I've met. It's Chris, I've known for a couple days. Go ahead and sit down if you like. The Kayla McClure, our test barn assistant. Kayla's extensive experience in equine training and management, along with her tenure at prestigious equestrian, I am not talking about today, establishments add significantly to our team. Thank you for joining us. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to them.
And I really have that, you know, like I'm grateful that you were a great for in the Army, but my dad was 30 years Coast Guard, so we're so sorry.
That's fun.
That's really close to the Navy now.
Oh, no, we go out and we get them out of the drink.
Okay. I must also express gratitude to investigator Mike Jensen for his invaluable contributions since returning to our team while we were recruiting for a new chief investigator. Mike ensured our continuity of operations and made significant strides forwards above and beyond what we've asked. I would also like to thank Mike for running out to Gresham this morning to grab all the materials that Karen Parkman had because she has a brand new baby foal.
A lot more fun than sitting in the motel room waiting for people.
So congratulations, Karen, too, for finally getting a new kid. Regarding Crooked River, just an update. I want to highlight that air testing is scheduled for June 29th at Grants Pass. The commission is actively updating our policies and procedures as we have been for some time, with a current emphasis on enhancing our information dissemination system for improved efficiency, accuracy, and transparency. We kindly ask that any proposed agenda items be submitted to the administrative office before the start of each month. This will allow sufficient time for obtaining necessary approvals, examining materials, and ensuring proper distribution, and that confidential information is not included with those documents. Submissions received after the deadline will typically be deferred to subsequent commission meetings. Lastly, as a reminder, effective July 1st, 2024, we will transition to Microsoft Teams for our communication needs. The decision was made considering its seamless integration with our existing technology and its superior capacities. Those unfamiliar with Teams, I urge you to download it well in advance of our July meeting. A link in the software is conveniently provided on our website. With that, I concluded my report.
Hey, are there any questions of Director Wynn? Commissioner Beckstead or Commissioner Berry, any questions? I don't want to leave you guys out, so.
None from me, thank you.
Thank you very much. Hey, thank you, appreciate that. Okay, next thing we have on our agenda is the AEW committee report, meeting report. Commissioner Reddick.
Thank you, Chair. The AEW subcommittee met today for the first time in a long time. It was more of a meet and greet of sorts to keep in touch with our stakeholders. Basically, we discussed the state of the AEW industry, and the state of the AEW industry is strong. We see solid growth throughout. There is data coming out on handle in the next few weeks, so we can expect, or we should be expecting, about 1.5 billion. Is that correct? In handle, which is a strong number. In terms of AEW licensing, everyone is up to date. The stars have aligned in a way that there are no licenses up for renewals this year. We should be expecting those in next year or 2026. 2026. We are going to start working and propose a AEW meeting in the fall. We'd like to have an all-day meeting to discuss several issues involving AEWs and looking into the future a little bit. In that looking into the future, one of the things, or the Oregon Racing Commission is aware of a trend towards sportsbook integration into the platforms that brings some other issues that we need to hash out and discuss. We continue to take the pulse of the industry in this regard. And we will provide a comment on this issue throughout these months and in that fall week. And that was basically the gist of our subcommittee.
Are there any questions? Okay, appreciate that, keep up on that, topics. It's very important. Okay, next thing we have is the strategic plan. You want to introduce it or go through it or?
Sure.
We started it,
Sure.
we're just continuing the discussion.
I think there was a couple things, we were continuing the discussion, and also we had some commissioners that were on last time. They were up to date on it, so I guess my first question is, has everyone had a chance to read through it, and do you have any questions?
I did read through it. I read through it again last night, and I don't think I had any questions. I made some notes, but we'll be interested in the conversation.
And also, I might add that Commissioner Begstad reviewed this initially with us as the chair of the best practices committee, and we also got quite a bit of industry input on it, which made some minor tweaks to what you saw before. I don't think that anything is high level. I mean, you probably wouldn't even notice reading through it, there was changes, but they were good additions and clarifications to the industry. How about Commissioner Barry? Have you had a chance to read through it?
I apologize. I haven't had a chance to read through it yet. It's out. I have not had a chance to read through it yet. No. I'm sorry.
Would you like me to go ahead and go through at least the vision, mission, and values?
Why don't you go through and do that, because as I say, we go through the questions, because going through it, it really is very extensive.
Yeah, so I'm gonna just go through some of the high level areas, just to make sure that we're at start. Hopefully you'll have a chance to take a look at it later. So we started with our vision statement. Our vision is the Oregon Racing Commission is the go-to source for industry respected regulations, customer focused processes, athlete safety and welfare, and empowered excellence in racing. And just stop me when you have questions or you want more clarifications on any of this. By the way, this was also reviewed by the governor's office, and they were quite happy with this. The mission, the Oregon Racing Commission, is dedicated to promoting the highest standard of safety and integrity within the equine racing industry, both on ground and online. Our mission is to safeguard the welfare of the athletes, both human and equine, with a steadfast commitment to the best interest of our citizenry, licensees, participants, and the economy. Our values, and we had a lot of fun doing this. We started with our own internal committee, and then from there we brought it up to the entire staff, and then we brought it to our Commissioner Begstad, and then to industry, and sent out to the tribes, and even sent it to several other agencies. So it's been vetted by several different groups. To fulfill our mission, and with an emphasis on technology-driven solutions, we aim to, these are our values, welfare, health, and safety. And these aren't necessarily in any order. They're all important to us, but this one is on top. Prioritizing the health, safety, and well-being of our equine and human athletes through strict regulations and training, while promoting equine care and retirement by encouraging participants with the equine industry, advocating the safety and well-being of all other participants and aspect of the racing industry. It's kind of a mouthful. That one, we did get some really great help from the industry on it. I really appreciate their input on that. One of the areas I think in there was to promote equine care and retirement. The retirement, I believe, is what you saw before. Public confidence, building and maintaining public confidence in the integrity and credibility of the horse racing industry. Integrity, provide fair, neutral, impartial, regulatory, and treatment of licensees, ensuring the honesty and fairness of all participants, including trainers, jockeys, licensees, owners, and officials, ensuring equal opportunities for all. Regulatory excellence, ensuring strict adherence by establishing rules and regulations and taking appropriate action against industry violations. Continuing to hold primacy of online wagering licensees within the horse racing industry by providing a comprehensive regulatory framework and promoting innovation and business-friendly environment. Transparency, providing clear and open communication about rules, regulations, financial integrity, and decision-making processes. Support the economy by regulating and promoting pari-mutuel wagering. We stimulate economic growth, creating jobs and opportunities that benefit both the racing industry and the wider Oregon community. Customer service. We believe that customer service is not just a department, but a culture. It's not just an important part of the department, but a culture that we strive to have. We strive to provide quick, easy, personalized, and empathetic service to every customer every time. We listen to our customers, understand their needs, and offer solutions that work for them. We treat our customers with respect, honesty, and kindness. They're always looking for ways to improve our services and exceed our customers' expectations. We're almost done with this section, I promise. History. The Oregon Racing Commission is committed to the long-standing tradition of horse racing and recognizes that it is an important component of our state's history. Equity statement. The Oregon Racing Commission follows and supports the governor's office's diversity and inclusion affirmative action meeting discussions. As a result, the ORC has confirmed its alignment to intentionally diversify our workforce, operations, and perspectives. The ORC promotes a culture that fosters and embeds diversity and inclusion throughout its operations, both internally with staff and externally with members of the public, interested parties, and/or partners by increasing diverse and mutual cultural perspectives, improving business and service delivery outcomes, increasing certified firm contracting inclusion, improving individual and organizational cultural confidence, and improving organizational accountability. Any questions on any of that?
Director Nguyen, can I just chime in here?
Yes.
I just want to say that I really appreciated that we are prioritizing the welfare of the athletes, both equine and human. And as I think the rest of the commission knows, I believe that the public's perception that equine welfare is subordinate to, the interests of the owners or the wagers or whatever poses an existential threat to the future of racing. And so I think we need to make it very clear that this is absolutely a top priority, and not just a priority of this body, but a priority of the industry itself. And I have been really gratified that the industry, everyone that I've spoken to, that's involved in this industry and involved with this commission, I've been really pleased with how genuine everyone seems to be with making sure that we are taking that step of prioritizing that as a top priority. So anyway, I just wanted to say that I'm very appreciative of that.
Thank you very much. Your help, your input in this was invaluable. Absolutely.
And I will just go over the goals. I'm not going to go through all the outcomes, expectations, but just let you know some of our goals that we have right now that we're working on. One is, again, not being ordered necessarily, Promote live racing in Oregon to enhance all aspects of the horse racing industry in support of a strong Oregon. Is actually the biggest driver. 2, ensure the safety and security of humans, equine, wagering, community, and property. 3, continue to be the leader in licensing and regulating online wagering companies. 4, forward-thinking and technologically savvy. 5, increasing transparency and access to information. And the rest of this document just gives some timelines and discusses how to do that. Any other questions on the document?
Any questions, comments, or input? Okay, I did like, it from a strategic standpoint, it looked like it's something that's very doable. And that's one thing a lot of that that are not very practical. And this one seems that it addresses a lot of the issues that we have and or had. And good. And strategic plans do change throughout the years, but I think the major document we have here is very good. Any other comments, commissioners? Okay. Thank the committee to work on this. It's very, very good. Very impressive. Do we need to accept this or just?
I think we actually should vote on it
Okay.
to accept the strategic plan because it will be part of our budget for forward to that 2025 submission.
I'll make a motion to accept strategic. Commissioner Scholar, moves to we accept the strategic plan. Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
2 seconds. Any questions? Input? Okay, with that, commissioners, all those in favor, either say aye or raise your hand. Aye.
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 Okay, it is unanimous. Okay, great work, man. Very, very good. Okay, the next thing we have in new business is to approve an HRA application.
And I would like to call President Lowe to the table.
Welcome.
And I will go through the applications and some of the changes. And the business itself.
And then what we'll do is we'll go through and with some of the changes that we've done, we'll approve the application based on changes. Well, it's nice to see you guys all in person.
Rock Lowe, the CEO of Horsemen's Racing Association.
Thank you, Mr. Lowe, for coming today, and thank you for your submission. I want to start by saying I was really impressed. I had a lot of questions and a lot of additional details I asked you for, some were even on the application. And you did an excellent job. I commend you for getting all of that information to me, and the corrections that may have seemed trivial. But just to make sure that our application is correct is 100% now. The only thing that we have that is still pending is some things that it's just too early for you to have.
Correct.
And that's where we have the provisional approval. That includes things like the jockey insurance, because they want to have a rate for it. We will need proof that the bond is auto renewal. We just need proof that it has actually auto renewed. And the public liability insurance. And then one area that is correct now, but it will need to be renewed, will be the license with the state of Oregon. It's not even due until next month, but it will come up before they start racing.
Correct.
And is there anything else that you'd like to say, or but thank you very much for providing all that information for us. We really appreciate it, and I recommend that if you're going to approve,
No, I just want to thank the commission for taking the application and giving us the opportunity to again keep Oregon racing going on a commercial level, and we're going to do our best to put on a good meet, and we'll continue to with our off-track betting sites, continue to look for areas for growth in those. and continue to manage our assets so that we can keep racing going. Thank you.
Forward to us. Okay, so we need a motion to have original approval of the HRA application.
Can I ask a quick question? And this is just for my own education. Is this an annual process? So this is a year-long permit, and we'll be doing this again next year. Is that how this works?
Correct. And Commissioner, I would add to that, that's in role. If the commission thought that there was a better option, we could consider that a longer period of approval. It actually may make sense with a smaller race as opposed to making it go through all this every single year.
Yeah.
That's a really good question, and one I've thought about myself, actually.
Yeah, I saw that it was for 1 year, and so I assumed there was a permit granted last year, and we're doing it this year, and then it'll be next year, and unless we change the time frame for the permit.
Excellent suggestion. So maybe this is something as a board we can bring up and say it's every year you need to show insurance and that kind of thing, whatever you do.
Yeah, there would be a few things that would have to be done. Dates for sure would
Right.
have to be redone every year, and then just renewal of insurances, but most of the other things will stay the way they are. And if there was something else that came up, we could certainly just address that issue.
And just so you know, for chairs, for our ADWs, we actually do have a process like that. What we do is we grant a 5-year license, and we do annual reviews. And they can be up to 5 years. They can be 1, 3, or 5. It's up to them to commit to however many they want. There could be some tremendous pros in that. So for example, and I'm just throwing some information out here. We need more discussion, including industry input. But if, for example, next time we granted a 5-year license, if we change the rule and it was approved, that may give the industry a sense of more stability.
Correct.
Which could be really good. I don't know what other jurisdictions do outside of Oregon. It sure seems like a smart idea to me. And then we would have, like we do with our UDWs, we have an annual checklist where we're responsible, and it would be a responsibility of our supervisor of mutuals, Dawn. Dawn's like, oh, you're talking about me, yes, Dawn. Who's going to Mexico tomorrow. She would be in charge of preparing the document to prove that we have all the things that we need, the dates and all of those things. And if there were things that were missing that were conditional, such as this time, she would just present on those, and she would come up and present with Mr. Lowe, and you could ask any questions. So if that's something the commission wants me to give a formal proposal to next time, or bring a rule, or if you'd like to now, just let me know, and we'll, or if you want to vote on it, we'll go forward. But right now, I think we should do a vote.
Oh, we have a motion on the floor.
I'll second the motion to approve the application for registered licensure provision.
Right. And then I think that the input that we have from the other commissioners is good, and this is something, I think we'll vote on, but well, we'll vote on it then. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. And I think with this, we go through, and it may not need to be done by next month, by the next meeting, but maybe
Yeah,
our
There we go.
in the next 3 or 4, because I think it's one of these things, if the application pretty much is the same all the time, except, the idea, yes, you need insurance, yes, you've done this. I think it just saves you time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot of work.
Looks
like a lot of work.
That's a lot of work, and then he ends up getting on. The other thing I would say is, like an ADW, the one thing we would need, if there is a change in any portion of your application, such as you add something to security. At that time, you would just provide a one page on what's changed. And we would write a letter back, letting you know that, your plan of operation has been approved by the ORC. That's your evidence that you have it, and we just keep it in the file until the next application.
Let's pay for it.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right,
Thank you very
appreciate that.
much.
Thank you.
okay, the next thing we have on the agenda is reports on veterinary conference. Government. Yes.
Well, I'm gonna keep this down to an hour and 5 minutes and come up with the latest.
Just, give us your name for the record.
Yes, I'm Tom Everman, Dr. Everman, and I work for the Oregon Research Commission. And I have not previously met everyone in person. I think I met you in Toma, right?
Could have.
Yeah, last year in Toma. But I haven't met everyone, and these guys have been meeting virtually again. So we've had so many virtual meetings that I haven't met everyone, so I got the opportunity to come in person meeting, and so you can basically put a face with a name, and we have a couple of new employees that I just met today for the first time. So this is nice that I meet them before we actually go to a race. So each year, for the last 4 years, I joined the commission in 2019. And for the last 4 years, I have gone to the Racing, Medication, and Testing Consortiums, continuing education for racing and regulatory veterinarians. It's the only program of continuing education that is made and designed and operated specifically for racing regulatory veterinarians. Not the attending veterinarians, not veterinarians in general. This group was formed in 2001 as part of and as an outgrowth of the American Association of Equine Practitioners Racing Medication Summit. They decided a group needed to be formed that would address the issues that were coming up at racetracks all across the country. And would invite all the racing regulatory veterinarians, and it's been well attended. Basically, it's maxed out and it's held at a different racetrack every year. I went to, let's see, I went to Santa Anita in 2020, right before the COVID-19 pandemic occurred and the shutdowns happened. And in 2021, it was virtual because of all the shutdowns. In 2022, it was at Keeneland at the where they run the Kentucky Derby. We stayed in Louisville, but the conference was at the racetrack. In 2023, it was at Gulfstream Park in Florida. And in 2024, it was back at Santa Anita. And it's at the racetrack each year, and it has to be at a racetrack where they actually have horses, because part of the conference is stall side where we do pre-race exams in a group. And just a little background on myself, since I haven't met everyone in person, and you may not know, Jack McGrail and Karen Parkman were instrumental in hiring me originally. And I was hired when the racetrack moved from Portland to Grants Pass. I had an equine practice at Grants Pass, which I was in the process of selling at that time. I was retiring from active practice, and the racing commission approached me. And I met with them and was hired as the senior commission veterinary to deal with the equine issues. Our equine athletes that we rely on for racing. So that's how I got into it. I've since sold that practice in Grants Pass. I live in Florence, Oregon now. And I moved to Grants Pass when the race meets happens there, and I go to the fair meets, Selma, Union, Prineville, Crooked River, roundup race meeting. I go there to stay with the rest of the commission staff in the hotels. So, anyway, this conference I attend is basically, specifically for racing regulatory veterinarians. This year, the conference schedule, the program was sudden deaths. What we do if a horse just dies suddenly at the racetrack. And I would like to thank Connie, she's made this sort of a mandatory thing, that all the horses are now going to get postmortem examinations at either Washington State University or Oregon State University. The second item on the agenda, there was postmortem examinations. They did give us flash drive, which has a 19-page booklet on racehorse postmortem examinations, which I will share with these diagnostic labs if they have an interest in it. They may have already read this material because it was published. And then we had a discussion about salvage surgery. I noticed you talking earlier about retirement for racehorses. And sometimes when they're injured, a salvage surgery can be done, but this is expensive. Both for the surgery, the rehabilitation, and taking care of the horse after surgery, and the retirement years that it might have. Very few of these horses are suitable for need to have athletic performance. I know they have one in Santa Anita that is a pony horse, and some are mares that can reproduce and be produced as race horses. So for breeding purposes, the salvage surgery makes sense. For a gelding or a stallion, less so. And stallion, of course, we have a very good record. He might be valuable to stand this stud. Then we had a discussion about wearable technologies. Most of you have heard about this. Connie has been pursuing this, learning more about Stride Safe, as well as there's about 5 different wearable technologies. There's 2 big problems with this. One is that none of these are diagnostic from the standpoint of a veterinary aspect of looking at what's wrong with a horse. If the monitors say that the stride is not normal, first of all, you need multiple goes with the horse in order to establish what normal is for that horse. So it does require multiple uses for each individual horse, which costs money, and it requires compliance with both the rider and the owner and the trainer to agree that they're going to put this device in the saddle padding of the horse, and the information goes to a satellite, and then it's read off-site by experts who decide that something is abnormal, and then it goes back to the trainer, and not the attending events, not the regulatory events like me. We may not even be. I talked to Dr. Emerald Downs in Washington, the head veterinarian there, and regulatory veterinarian, and he is not part of this group. They've used this Stride Safe at Emerald Downs, but the trainers get the information and the attending vets, but not the regulatory vets. So it's not diagnostic. None of these, there were about 5 of these who were presented at this meeting. None of them are ready for prime time as far as diagnostic information. They're simply to say that the horse is moving abnormally. The other problem we have is that we're dealing with a race betting industry, and how handicappers would handle this information if it was known that a horse was racing that had an abnormal stride. How that would affect betting is an unknown thing. None of these have been used yet at any racetrack. Go ahead.
Thank you. Are they accurate? And the reason I ask is I use one of these when I exercise my horse. And it tells me, you know, the strides, it gives me all this data and it is just completely inaccurate. So I mean, it blows me away how inaccurate it is.
Which one are you using?
Equilab.
Yeah. You know, the problem with these is that they're all in the developmental stage.
Yeah,
Not ready for prime.
yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah, they are not ready for prime. And they're all in data gathering. The Stride Safe is probably the furthest along. Was originally developed in Australia and it's being tested now in United Kingdom and America. But none of these are used at a research.
Thank you.
Yeah, and they also do not give a specific diagnosis. They just say that something's abnormal, or they might with some of them specify lab, but usually they don't. Usually they just say the stride is not what the horse normally does. And it causes a lot of worry. And then this gets back to the vetting. If this ever did reach a point of being developed to where it could be used in race horses, in a race, how would that affect wagering? This is an unknown thing. So at this point, it's experimental. It's just something we're learning about. And racetracks in Oregon, we don't run long enough at a certain location and don't have the money in most of these horses to make this work, because it's pretty expensive to use this multiple times on a single horse in order to establish what normal is for that horse. So, yeah, at this point, it's interesting, but not ready for use at the racetrack. The next thing we talked about was intra-articular injections, which are done a lot in racehorses. And the newest generation of intra-articular injections is the polyacrylamide gels, which are a foreign substance to the body. They're not absorbed into the bloodstream, so they can't be detected. They stay in the joint space. And the biggest problem with them is that we require extreme asepsis, very, very clean application, because you put in a foreign material in the joint that cannot be removed. So if you get an infection and you have this foreign material in the joint that you cannot remove, you get a huge problem that you really don't. So that would be something that may not even happen in Oregon. It's being used right now, but hopefully it'll only be used by veterinarians who are extremely cautious about how they use it. And anyway, we had a good talk about that. There's a lot of different products out there right now. Joint replacement obviously is not available for equine at this point in time. The advantage of these technologies is they last up to 2 years in lameness, really. So that's a long time in a horse's life. Now, whether or not these are gonna be a problem for racehorses, we don't know. Hopefully, we're not gonna spend that much money to find out. Right now, we can't test for them because they stay in the joint. So it's something that people need to be very, very cautious on how they use this type of thing in a racehorse. Now, this conference, I would say that this conference was largely taken over by HISA, which is hard to say how this is going to play out in the future years, because the Horse Racing Integrity and Safety Act was passed by Congress, has taken over most of the thoroughbred tracks in America, and they're taking over to a large degree this conference. So they gave quite a few of those talks there. And a high percentage of the thoroughbred tracks in America are under HISA jurisdiction right now. The one thing that we did get from this that I found extremely interesting was the preparation prior to. I've already spoken to Rod Lowe about that I want to do some preparation grass pass with the gate group, which can be different every year. Because these are the people you rely on when a horse is injured at the racetrack. They're the first people that get there. The pony riders get there, but they usually form a barricade and they stay on their horse because they have to deal with their own horse and getting off and tying it to the rail or handing it to somebody else is usually not gonna be a solution. So it's usually the gate crew that arrives first on the scene. And then I arrive with, one of the investigators. I know Mike has been there with me, and he'll be with me part of the time. So, I arrive, I have a kit, and I make the evaluation. And it's up to the veterinarian to make the determination whether the horse should just go back to its stall and be returned to its owner for attendant events to do aftercare. Or push it down, or should we take it off the track? We have an ambulance, a racetrack operator in each meet provides the ambulance to move the horse off the racetrack. It can't be safely moved on its own. And the gate crew is trained for, and new people will be trained on how to use the ambulance and operate it. And basically, we want to get the horse out of the public eye as safely and as quickly as possible. No matter what the injury is, whether it's minor or more serious, we do not want the public having to deal with this. So this is something that the gate crew is extremely important in also this operating mode. I think Rod, you've actually driven it.
Oh, yeah. Several times.
Yeah, Rod is actually, he has a very nice ambulance at Grants Pass. And he's actually driven that ambulance out on the track, just turning it around, but there could be an issue. So, some preparation is always the key before the event occurs. The people who are gonna have to deal with it, you want them to prepare. So anyway, and any questions? I'm glad I got to give this little presentation just so I could meet everybody in person. And, Malia, of course, I know you can't ask any questions, but you kind of come to all the time. But anyway.
Committee, commissioners, any questions?
Really, thank you for the thorough report.
All right, thank you.
Okay, the next thing we have on our agenda is discussion and possible adoption of the ORC slaughter statement.
All right, this is back to me, Chair Curley. As part of our work on the strategic planning, Commissioner Beckstead has asked us to consider this. I have a place that we can put it on our website, on our new page. I took a shot at putting something together. I'm not sure if it's what Commissioner Beckstead or any of the commissioners are interested in. I think it's important to state that we can only make a statement. We cannot make any policies. We have no control. Frankly, even the track, even if they have a policy, they have no way to enforce it. There's no way to enforce it. It's just us expressing our interest in this. Would you like me to read it? Do you have comment on it? Has anybody seen it?
Mr. Beckstead, do you have any comments on this?
Well, yeah, and I am mindful certainly of the limitations of the commission's ability to take a formal position, let alone, make requirements of owners. But I feel like if we are serious about our commitment to the welfare of equine athletes, that this is something that we should at least talk about. Right now, 83%, according to a 2022 poll, 83% of Americans are strongly opposed to the slaughter of American horses for human consumption. We do not have any equine slaughter plants in the United States, which means that American equines are shipped to Canada and Mexico. Canada's equine slaughter industry is, by all accounts, fizzling out, which means that the majority of American equines being sold and exported for slaughter are going to Mexico. And the former organization that I worked at, we commissioned an investigation with a group called Animals Angels that documented the condition for horses bound for slaughter in Mexico and Canada, as well as the conditions at those facilities. And they are too horrific to go into. And it doesn't matter if the animal is a broken down Amish plow horse, a BLM Mustang, or a retired racehorse, or a children's pet pony. This is an industry made up of kill buyers and dealers who have a proven track record of doing everything they can to skirt the rules, and who take a very negative approach toward equine welfare because it means cutting into their bottom line. For an industry that is is at a sort of at a crossroads in terms of addressing public concerns over equine welfare, it just seems to me that this is a conversation worth having. Every Congress, there is a bill introduced to ban the slaughter of horses for human consumption, as well as the export of horses for human consumption. And in every Congress, that bill gets a majority of members of Congress in support of it as sponsors. And at every Congress, it is stymied. And it is stymied in large part due to opposition from the AVMA, American Veterinary Medical Association, and the AAEP, who inexplicably characterize putting a horse onto a truck along with, and horses that are heavily pregnant, horses that are lame, horses that are elderly, little mini horses, ponies, on an hours long or days long ride to a Mexican meat plant. These vet groups have characterized that as humane euthanasia. Now, all of us in this room know that humane euthanasia, for most of us, means you call the veterinarian out to your property and you give that animal a quiet, dignified death in the comfort of its own home and surrounded by the people that it knows. So it has been the fight of my lifetime to guarantee that every American equine, regardless of who they are, where they came from, is given this very basic measure of decency and humane consideration, that it be spared that kind of that its final days are filled with terrible suffering and terror, panic, pain, and I just think we owe these animals a lot more than that. Now, having said all that, I have been very impressed with the strides that the thoroughbred industry has made in developing second career, a top priority, second career options. The Jockey Club is firmly against slaughter and actively lobbies for an end to slaughter. And I believe we're going to get there someday. It's probably not going to happen in this Congress, but I believe that eventually we'll move the needle. But in the meantime, I think it would speak very highly of Oregon and of this body and of the horsemen and women here in the state of Oregon. It would speak very highly of all of us if we had, and again, I understand the legal limits in terms of enforcement, and I know we can't make anyone do anything. And maybe we don't necessarily, issue a statement or include a statement that specifically, comes out against horse slaughter. I would love that, but maybe we cast it in terms of that the emphasis is on when an equine athlete is done with its racing career, that, you know, every effort be made to make sure that that animal finds a good permanent home and does not fall into the wrong hands where its last days are going to be absolutely horrific. So I felt like it was at least worth a conversation, and I'm more than happy. I marinate in this issue and have been marinating in this issue all day, every day for most of my professional career. So I have more data, more information than you can shake a stick at. You know, there's the animal welfare issue. There's also the food safety issue. The fact that unlike in Europe, which, you know, every animal has basically a medical passport, so that every animal presented for slaughter, its entire medical history and every drug that it's ever received is presented at the time that animal is presented for slaughter. Well, we don't even have that. We don't even have that for our food animals in this country, let alone for horses. And you know, so that means that we are exporting animals who have received, you know, phenylbutazone, clenbuterol, all sorts of substances, which, if ingested by human consumers, is toxic. And so you've got the food safety issue, you've got the animal welfare issue, and you get just the basic economics that as long as a horse is here in the United States and is alive, it is keeping veterinarians, farriers, you know, truck dealerships, horse trailer dealerships, tack manufacturers. A live horse contributes a lot to the economy. And if all of us who have owned horses, we know how much money these horses are putting into the economy. The minute a horse is bought by a kill buyer to be exported for slaughter, that horse's contribution to the American economy stops. My friends, I could go on and on about this, so I'm going to be quiet. But you can tell, you know, that it's something that's important to me, and I do feel like that we should take a try at creating a statement that emphasizes that we, as a body, really want to make sure that these retired athletes go to a good place, and that they're, and also to you know, to be maybe an information clearinghouse for all the programs and options that are out there for retired racers. I mean, you know, this is why I got involved in this body, because I adopted a former racehorse, and he was badly mistreated. He was psychologically damaged, but man, he became the greatest horse I've ever known. And I feel like every thoroughbred racehorse, probably every quarter horse, every racing quarter horse, has that burning desire to compete and perform. And it's just such a shame to have an animal like that just fall into the wrong hands. And that's my spiel. I would very much appreciate you know, hearing what others think, and I'm certainly happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. One question I have without legal counsel here is whether the statement and so on have been vetted from the legal aspect, and all of the questions may have. So.
Hi, good afternoon. For the record, Kelly Rout, Assistant Attorney General, Counsel for Oregon Racing Commission. Looking over the statement, I may have some recommendations to sort of make sure that the statement sort of stays within the authority of the Racing Commission, and work with some suggested language on that, just to ensure that we're sort of staying within the commission, the authority of the commission, but also sort of
Because I think it's the idea that the idea behind it, commissioner, is sound. It's just we want to make sure that it's not going to run into any legal, you know, hoops and that kind of thing. We want to be able to vet it. Commissioner.
I was ready to move for an approval, but apparently we were taking a second take at the language. Is that what I'm getting? Right? So, okay. So then I'll just make a comment. I don't know why we have to soften the language or check our overview if it's just a statement, right? And secondly, I want to perhaps softly and elegantly challenge the executive director, I think there are measures that we take to enforce this policy. So I invite both the executive director, my fellow commissioners, and the DOJ to really pay attention and see how we can make this language forceful, strong, and to have some teeth as well. Because nice words oftentimes just stay in paper. Don't do much.
So if that's something that you can also look into, we would appreciate that.
I think it's a good idea to have a statement, and I like this statement. I'd be interested in looking into whether it had any teeth. I mean, something to think about is, for example, kill buyers aren't allowed onto racetracks, or, I mean, I have no idea, I'm just kind of throwing an idea out there, a way that this could have some teeth. I do think it makes some sense to have a statement that we, as a commission, oppose this practice. I don't know if this would be allowed, but I'm just throwing it out there. Perhaps having, with the statement, a non-exclusive list of second chance nonprofits that deal with retired racehorses. I don't know if we can do that to be advocating for some other groups, but I think if we're saying this, it may make sense to say, we support any group that's trying to have a second career for these animals, and here's a list of some you could check out if you were interested, or something like that.
And Commissioner, we do have a list of some known organizations on our website
Oh,
already.
Great.
We could reference that in our statement, that some of these can be found on such a page.
Yeah, great.
Great input. Any other input that you'd like for the DOJ to look at? Before we talk about this, yeah.
I just want to express my appreciation that we're having this conversation, and again, I just you know, I think we owe it to these animals to do everything we can. So thank you for the conversation.
Okay, and that's good, because I think it's always a good idea to be safe, better safe than sorry, when you go through and approve this, and then down the road say, well, there's this legal issue, this legal issue. And so we go through and take our time to get it. I think we could practice. Okay, great, thank you all for the input on this. And with that, we'll move to this next item, which is the discussion of possible approval to begin a rulemaking process of 462-220-0010, which is definitions on amendment affiliates.
Thank you, Chair, members of the commissions. This is me. I'm Lynn. If you have this in there, there's some of it's just cleanup, such as changing subscriber base to subscriber hyphen base. The only real change in here is we've never had a real definition of what an affiliate is. So this is correcting that, and it reads an affiliate refers to a third party entity that rebrands or markets a licensed product or service. It's pretty straightforward. It's always been assumed that situations could come up where we definitely need that. So I recommend that we go forward with the rulemaking process for it.
Okay, so basically it's just a grammatical correction and have to come up with a definition of affiliate.
That's it.
Okay. Other questions before we move for a motion? Questions or comments? Okay, I entertain a motion to accept the definitions as printed.
I will make that motion.
So.
Second.
And seconded by Commissioner Beckstead, that moved and seconded that we adopt 462-20-0010. Okay, all those in favor vote aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
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 Okay, that vote is unanimous. Okay, the next Discussion item we have is discussion of possible approval to begin a rulemaking. Excuse me, to discuss the possible adoption of the plate amendment with changes.
And back to me, Connie Lynn. This, I have to give Mike Twig so much credit. First of all, you're not gonna find it in your packet, and I'll explain why momentarily. Mike Twigs took this on, and I think I kind of convinced him that this is something important to take on. And he started doing a lot of research, and he started talking to a lot of people. And pretty soon, the entire industry decided that there needed to be some changes. So he has personally influenced not only HISA, ARCI, and the Quarter Horse Association, who are all now taking this up because of his inquiries. So great job, Mike. Unfortunately, you've done a lot of work on this that we're gonna have to wait on. So we're gonna pull this and wait until the experts get done with this. And thank God that we are once again leading the way in Oregon to get things done right. So that's where we're at on that one.
Okay.
We're not doing anything right now. We're gonna put it inside
But the important thing is that it's being addressed.
being addressed,
Yeah.
not by us, but with Dr. Bigwoods on it too.
Great, thank you. So that will be tabled for a while. Okay, so that's all that we have in the new business. And nobody brought up anything earlier. So the next thing we have is public comment. Is there any public comment? When you come up, please identify yourself for the record.
We have another one up there, Alice Longford. Also.
Okay, and then we will go to
Alice Long, Dr. Long.
Dr. Lombard. Okay. For the record, excuse me, for the record,
Leah Nelson, I'm Executive Director of the Oregon Quarter Horse Racing Association. And I just wanted to let Scott know and the commission know that the American Quarter Horse Association has a very good second career program. And I'd be happy to get you any of that information if you wanted it, but to put it on the record, we also have a good second career program.
but if you want to get that information to us.
Sure.
And pass it on to the people that are working on this, we appreciate it.
Sure. I'll be happy to do it.
Any
Thank-
other-
Thank you very much for that. I very much appreciate that.
Okay, Dr. Yes,
Hi, guys. Dr. Alice Lombard, occasional contract commission veterinarian. I apologize for not being there in person. I really wanted to be today. I wanted to shake everybody's hand and actually meet you in person. Horses had a different idea. I'm in the back corner of a tack room right now on a farm. So hopefully the video works. But what I did want to say and what I wanted to encourage was all the commissioners, look at your schedules. Please come to a fair meet. You guys do so much work working on strategic plans. I mean, Director Wynn works so hard on this with all the, in partners and everything else, but come see what the boots on the ground are doing. I'm happy to take you around if I'm at the track that day, see what the horsemen and women are doing, because we really work hard there too, making sure that all the things that you guys are talking about, the health and safety and welfare of these horses are good and that the industry is strong. And I really would especially encourage the new commissioners to come see what you're all working so hard to do and see what's happening and meet us all. And careful which horsemen or women you get caught with, because you might get 60 years of information in 5 seconds. But you will enjoy it. So please come, please.
oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, any other public comment? Nothing up there? Okay, with that, we have no contested cases. And the next commission meeting we have will be on Zoom at May 16th at 1:30. And I'm hoping that Commissioner Berry can run that meeting. I will be on a train coming back from Seattle, so I'm not going to do it. I'm sorry, the Rolling Stones are overseeing the Oregon Racing Commission. So play that. So, anyway, anything else to good the order? It's actually nice to meet everybody.
Right.
Yes.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Okay, any objection? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Raise your hand. Okay. It's over. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.